The U.S. women's national team went into their latest She Believes Cup match with an entirely new starting 11. Hidden behind the action was one tiny change with a huge impact. I'm Bridie O'Toole, welcome back to Busy Watching Women's Soccer, and today I'm excited to look at this little change that Emma Hayes has for us. Starting off here with a furious press from Shaw, Biandolo too. They look great individually at that, but even better together. Albert and Hutton kind of go through the same ball there, them understanding their positioning, responsibilities. It's going to be an important mismatch, especially because the lineup's completely changed. Everybody is new. Everybody is figuring out where their peers are, what options are available to them. I think Hutton does a great job here getting turned, finding Shaw. Shaw has a great ball for Sears to run onto, and I like that even when her foot gets stuck on it a little bit there, she's just patient, figures something out. You can almost hear Shaw calling for the ball, squares it to Williams, and make it look really simple. I think we all know it was offside, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. They just got to it very quickly and made things happen. Good for them. Here, I think we can start to see the tactical change I alluded to earlier. So of the defenders, we can see Dunn, the left back, Davidson, a center back, Sam's a center back. Who we can't see is Giselle Thompson, who's playing right back. Now, typically, when this team has played in a double pivot under Emma Hayes, on offense with the ball, they have pushed their left back up the pitch. So typically we would see, Crystal Dunn, Jenna Niswanger moving into this position over here to get a little bit higher. What we don't see is Giselle Thompson, and my assumption is that because she's starting to push up the pitch, the type of player she is, she's very pacey, she's much more attacking style outside back, and then when we catch up to her, she's got the ball, she's pushing up, combining very nicely with Alyssa Thompson to win this corner here. This sequence offers us a nice look. We've got the left back in line with the defensive mids, and we've got the right back in line with the forward. So it really does seem like the wings are being used differently to how they have in the past. I like this play from Crystal Dunn to square the ball. I think Albert and Hutton do a good job getting connected. It's just missing that final piece. I like this clip because I think it shows how roles start to change with the use of the right wing. So we see the right winger, Alyssa Thompson, coming really low to help support build out. She does well just to get a touch on that, and the connection between her and her sister was really good. A lot of fun to watch. Decent service in, but it's a good clearance. Sears, though, really great job to keep that in play. And Shaw, my goodness, using both feet to make magic happen. I think the player most impacted by this tactical change is Emily Sams. I know that might seem counterintuitive. It should be Giselle Thompson, who is actually the right back. But Emily Sams has had more time in camp. She's had more match time. And I think it's her role that will change more significantly relative to what she's been doing previously. The way the team are set up right now, it's pretty normal. Everything's very even, but we know as the team moves up the field, Dunn will come back and this will turn into a back line of three, and Giselle Thompson will push a little bit higher up the pitch. But that's what we're expecting to see. This has all changed very recently. We have a whole brand new group of players trying to communicate. And I think that's why we have the breakdown here. It's certainly possible that Giselle Thompson was meant to be lower, but I think it's more likely that there's, some misunderstanding of what the responsibilities are, and there's some miscommunication around who's supposed to do what. McGlynn, I think she does really well to get to this. I am not a goalkeeping expert by any means. If you're a keeper, please let me know. But I think she has kind of no choice but to make a play here with Rasso being unmarked. We've seen how changing player roles has impacted positioning, but it also really impacted the build out. I think a lot of the time the US just looked stuck, and particularly that connection between the midfield getting turned, connecting with the forward line. It just wasn't there a lot of the time, and I really think that starts from the back in having familiarity with those connection points. So one of the solutions that we saw from the US was getting McGlynn more involved. They needed an extra player on the ball, but something I think is worth pointing out. Take a look at Emily Sams over here, and I think she is looking for a little bit of direction, a little bit of instruction. I think she's getting told perhaps to reposition, come a little bit wider, spread out some more. Again, I'm not sure this made all that much difference anyway, playing McGlennon, spreading Sam's out. It just wasn't enough familiarity between these players. So, time and time again, we see the same thing, struggling to get turned. It just was repetitious. Got another dead ball scenario here, and the US struggling to build out again. This left wing area, it's being used differently by multiple players. You can see the disconnect. People just uncomfortable with the change, especially with this pressure from Australia. It is a lot to deal with. Australia is starting to encroach on US territory here, and we're going to have a very, very bouncy ball just ping ponging around until somebody finally bring it down and control it. But put McGlynn in not the best position, and because of that, actions have consequences. You want to play her in, you want that extra player, there's more risk, and things can go very wrong very quickly. Um, I, I don't hate the move from McGlynn, honestly. It happens too early. She just makes the move too far away from the defender. She needs to, or defender, attacker, she needs to wait longer for the attacker to come to her. But I think she does this because I believe at this point she's panicking. You know, it's kind of hard to read which way she's going to peel off. So neither of these options look great. This option's covered. These ones I can't get to. So she doesn't really have much choice. I think she does what she can here. All is forgiven once she puts her hands on it. 61 minutes in, we're going to see 4 substitutions. They're pretty much all like for like, except for McKeown, who is going to replace Dunn. What actually ends up happening is that Davidson moves over to the left back position and McKeown takes her spot. I think this whole group injected a lot of energy. I think we saw more intensity from the wingers. It's a nice clearance from McKeown, and I really, really like her hustle here to get back to try and rectify the build-out options we've seen, making more options available earlier. And again, just a little bit more patient here in trying to find the right opportunity to turn, and Sentinel here is just pushing enough in order to win this throw. The sequence here also starts with a throw win, and compared to what we saw in the attacking third earlier, I think the team are doing a lot better to keep their feet moving, create new options for themselves, and I feel like this is one of the first times in this match we really see them create an opportunity out of sustained possession in the final third. This is a really cool moment. Michelle Cooper's first goal. We're all super excited. I don't think anybody cares that she pinched that ball, but I love this play from Claire Hutton, and it's very cool to see her find this tiny, tiny, narrow little lane. Great half turn there from Ali Sentinel. Just wonderful stuff. Couldn't really be much better than that. Sam Coffey subbed on in the 69th minute for Hutton. I didn't catch a tactical change, but there's definitely some sort of instruction that Coffee's coming on with, and if you keep an eye on her here, she's definitely doing a lot to communicate to everybody where they're supposed to be. So I think Emma Hayes at this point is maybe still having some concern about what she's seeing positionally, and ultimately still kind of some of the same issues from earlier, sort of creeping back in around the midfield and maybe forwards at this point not being able to turn. Final change, Emily Fox comes on to replace Giselle Thompson, but she's going to play this the same way Thompson did, not the way she typically does. Also think it's worth pointing out, we've now seen 6 players come onto the pitch in 15 minutes, so more than half the squad has rotated in the last 15 minutes. Now, this corner came very soon after Fox came on. She's over here. Emily Sam's all the way up here. It's interesting, almost, it just cracked me up that this was pretty much the same play. I swung her hat on it. I love what Coffey does here. She's maybe the only one to recognize that Australia is trying to go fast and tries to delay that play. Australia has some time here. Make sure they look for the right options. They pick something out really nicely. It's executed incredibly well. I don't think this could have been played any better. There's a lot to break down. There's a lot that went wrong. First up, Rasso, who is the right winger, or not, well, yeah, she's the right winger. Rasso, who's the right winger. I think her positioning is incredibly important here. She's in line with the striker. She pretty much looks like a striker. So as this ball, before the ball is getting played in, you really think she's going to be moving upfield, and that this player here on the wing is going to be attacking into that right wing area. It's a really, really excellent touch from Rasso. What it does is it completely splits the defenders. It's just the smartest ball she could have played for herself, the skill to do it too, but at this point, they each have to make a decision, and I think Davidson rightly chooses to follow her player, but I think McKeown could have been more aggressive about getting out there. I think she was a little bit hesitant because, quite frankly, these two probably should have been swapped around, and as she maybe looks for a little bit of help, maybe she's checking behind her, I don't know, but mistake number one, I think, would be McKeown. Not totally her fault at all. Mistake number two for me on the recovery run here from Sam's, she's a little bit behind. Emily Fox, who again, right, in season, out of season, we see the difference, but Fox is covering for Sam's. Sam's has not made it back at this point, so Fox is playing Sam's job, and right now Sam's is having to do Fox's job. I think Fox makes a really good decision right here when she sees Michelle Heyman going behind her. What she does is by adjusting her run a little bit, she makes sure the Heyman's sandwiched in between. There's a US player either side of her. That's much safer. Now, unfortunately, that is Sam's that has to go for that ball. It is just a million times easier to try and block this coming into it than it is going backwards. So for me, it's like a, what do we call it? Like comedy of errors, tragedy of errors. I don't know. It was a tragedy. It didn't look good, and there's a big glare from Fox after this. I think we know who messed up there. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. The US won. They got a ton of information out of trying new things. There's no loss here. I think you saw that some things didn't work out. Totally fine. Tweak it, move on, try to improve it. Thank you for checking this video out. Really hope you appreciated it. I really hope you appreciated it. I know you appreciated it. I really hope you liked it, but I will see you again soon. Thank you for being here.